As a group of alien invaders arrived on Earth, their massive ships blotting out the sky. They were part of a highly advanced civilization with technology far beyond anything humanity had ever seen. From their vantage point, Earth was nothing more than a backwater planet, filled with primitive creatures who barely managed to survive on their dying world. The pollution, the heaps of trash, and the crumbling cities only reinforced their belief that humans were weak and beneath them. As they hovered above the ruins of major cities, they communicated in their complex, advanced language, mocking the state of the planet. "How do they even live here?" one of the alien commanders scoffed. "This planet is drowning in its own waste. They can't even take care of their environment, let alone fight us." His subordinates laughed in agreement, secure in their belief that they would have little to no resistance. The invasion began swiftly and ruthlessly. Alien ships descended from the skies, unleashing devastating energy weapons on human settlements. Entire cities were reduced to ash in moments. The invaders' weapons were so advanced that human militaries stood no chance. Planes were shot out of the sky, tanks were obliterated before they could even fire a shot, and soldiers fell in droves. The few who survived went underground, hiding from the relentless onslaught. Amid the chaos, small pockets of human survivors scattered across the planet. They found refuge in the wastelands, places the aliens didn't bother to monitor. These areas, littered with broken machinery, scrap metal, and abandoned vehicles, became their hiding grounds. The survivors were desperate, outnumbered, and under-equipped. The cities were gone, and it seemed humanity was on the verge of extinction. For the aliens, the war was all but over. They established outposts across the planet, expecting no further resistance. From their perspective, the humans were no more than insects, scurrying about in the dirt. Their commanders joked about the sheer amount of garbage they found on Earth. One even remarked, "These creatures can barely manage their own waste. What hope do they have against us?" But while the aliens saw trash, the humans saw something else. In the quiet of the wastelands, among the piles of discarded material, a spark of human ingenuity began to ignite. Scavengers began picking through the wreckage, collecting bits of metal, old machinery, and electronics. What the aliens didn't know was that humans had been improvising for centuries, adapting and repurposing whatever they could find to survive. Now, that same resourcefulness was about to become their greatest weapon. As the aliens reveled in their victory, the survivors began to whisper among themselves. A new idea was forming, one born out of desperation and necessity. They would fight back, not with traditional weapons, but with the very thing the aliens had mocked. Earth's trash, the very waste that covered the planet, would become the key to their resistance. The first steps were small, barely noticeable: a few broken circuits reconnected here, a makeshift weapon crafted there. But this was only the beginning. The aliens continued to believe they had already won, too overconfident to recognize the danger that was quietly brewing in the wastelands. They had no idea what was coming. In the shadows of the wastelands, the scattered survivors of Earth began to organize. What had started as random scavenging now turned into a coordinated effort to repurpose the junk around them. Engineers, mechanics, and survivalists all worked together, pooling their knowledge to create something out of nothing. It was slow at first: an old car engine converted into a generator, rusted metal reshaped into body armor, and broken electronics pieced together to make crude but functional communication devices. The aliens, still unaware, carried on with their occupation. They patrolled the cities they had decimated, hunting down any signs of human life, while humans continued to scavenge in the ruins. To the aliens, these survivors were little more than pests, annoying but ultimately insignificant. What they didn't realize was that these pests were beginning to fight back. One night, a small group of humans set an ambush for an alien patrol. Using nothing more than scrap metal and discarded technology, they rigged a series of traps in a narrow alleyway. The traps were simple rusty spikes fashioned from car parts, old electronics rigged to trigger makeshift explosives. It wasn't sophisticated by any means, but it was enough. As the alien patrol entered the alley, confident in their superior armor and weapons, the humans sprang their trap. The first explosion caught the aliens off guard, tearing through their ranks. The spikes, hidden in the debris, impaled several more as they tried to regroup. Chaos erupted. The aliens, so used to overwhelming their enemies with superior firepower, struggled to react to the sudden, brutal assault. Air energy weapons malfunctioned, affected by the electromagnetic pulses from the humans' improvised devices. Within minutes, the entire patrol was decimated, their bodies lying in the dirt alongside the very trash they had once mocked. The humans, victorious for the first time since the invasion, quickly scavenged the alien technology, eager to learn more. They stripped the fallen patrols of their weapons, armor, and communication devices. Every piece of alien tech they could get their hands on was repurposed or studied, adding to their growing arsenal. What the aliens saw as primitive, the humans saw as opportunity. Word of the ambush spread quickly among the surviving human groups. It was a spark of hope in an otherwise bleak existence. More ambushes followed, with humans using whatever they could find: old car parts, scraps of metal, broken appliances to create traps and weapons. Each time they grew more confident, and each time the aliens were caught off guard. The alien commanders were perplexed. How could these humans, so primitive and weak, be able to inflict any damage? Their weapons were nothing compared to the advanced technology the aliens possessed, yet the humans continued to resist. One commander, growing increasingly frustrated, ordered an investigation into how these attacks were happening. But even when they found the remnants of human traps, the aliens couldn't comprehend how their technology was being disrupted by simple, makeshift devices. They were used to enemies who relied on advanced weaponry, not on scavenged parts and trash. Meanwhile, the humans refined their techniques. Engineers and mechanics who had once worked in factories and repair shops became the leaders of the resistance, using their skills to transform Earth's trash into deadly weapons. Old factory machines were repurposed to manufacture crude bullets and armor. Mechanics modified vehicles into makeshift tanks, using metal scraps for plating and rigging outdated engines to power them. What had once been a lifeless wasteland was now a thriving hub of creativity and survival. The turning point came when a small human team managed to capture an alien energy weapon. Though they didn't fully understand its technology, they studied it carefully, dissecting every part of it. After weeks of experimentation, they managed to jury-rig a power source from Earth's discarded electronics, allowing them to fire the alien weapon for the first time. The blast of energy tore through a building, a clear signal that humans were no longer defenseless. With each victory, the humans' confidence grew. They began to believe that they could fight back, not just survive. And for the first time since the invasion began, the aliens felt a sliver of fear. This planet they had thought was filled with nothing but waste and weakness was proving to be far more dangerous than they had ever imagined. As the humans' resistance grew, so did their ingenuity. Word spread across the globe, from the desolate wastelands of once great cities to the deep forests and mountains where humanity had taken refuge. Small groups of survivors, once isolated and struggling to endure, now started to connect with each other. Makeshift radios and communication devices, crafted from discarded technology, allowed for coordination that was previously impossible. The human resistance was no longer just pockets of survivors, it was becoming a global movement, fueled by determination and creativity. The aliens, once so confident in their superiority, found themselves increasingly on the defensive. Patrols sent to root out human survivors frequently failed to return. Outposts that had been established to oversee the conquered planet were attacked at night, often with devastating results. What was most frustrating to the alien commanders was the method of attack. They were not facing advanced weaponry, but rather scavenged and repurposed junk that had somehow been turned into deadly instruments of war. In one corner of the world, a group of human engineers managed to turn an abandoned factory into a weapons production facility. Using old machines, they created crude but effective artillery pieces from scrap metal. These makeshift cannons, powered by simple mechanical principles, were able to launch projectiles at incredible distances. The projectiles themselves were no more than shards of scrap metal and debris, but they were devastating to alien ships and ground forces. Meanwhile, other groups of humans were developing more intricate technology. Old drones, left abandoned after decades of disuse, were reprogrammed to serve as reconnaissance tools. Some were even outfitted with makeshift explosives, allowing for kamikaze-style attacks on alien outposts. The aliens, whose technology was built on precision and sophistication, were baffled by the sheer unpredictability and effectiveness of these improvised weapons. The aliens' frustration turned into fear after a particularly devastating attack on one of their main outposts. A human strike team had managed to infiltrate the perimeter using nothing but scrap metal for camouflage. They crawled through piles of debris, blending in with the environment, until they were close enough to the alien base. Once in position, they unleashed a barrage of homemade explosives, made from discarded electronics and chemicals scavenged from abandoned factories. The explosions were massive, and by the time the aliens realized what was happening, it was too late. The outpost was in ruins, and the humans had once again scavenged valuable alien technology. For the alien commanders, this was the final straw. They could no longer dismiss the humans as a minor annoyance or primitive species. Reports from across the planet painted a picture of a growing resistance, one that was learning and adapting with every battle. The aliens had never faced an enemy like this before. Their usual tactics of overwhelming force and superior technology were failing against a foe that seemed to thrive on improvisation and resilience. In desperation, the aliens ordered an all-out offensive to crush the human resistance once and for all. They deployed more troops, more ships, and more weapons, determined to end the war swiftly. But by this point, the humans were ready. Using the knowledge they had gained from scavenged alien technology, they had developed new ways to fight back. Makeshift energy shields, powered by repurposed alien components, protected their bases. Crude railguns, assembled from old machinery and scrap, fired projectiles that could penetrate even the most advanced alien armor. The climactic battle took place in a barren desert, where one of the largest alien outposts was located. The aliens had fortified it heavily, believing it to be impenetrable. But the humans, armed with their scrap-built weapons, launched a full-scale assault. Drones swarmed the skies, delivering explosives to key targets, while artillery cannons launched volleys of scrap metal at alien ships. Ground forces, clad in armor fashioned from old vehicles and metal plates, stormed the outpost with relentless determination. The aliens, despite their superior firepower, were overwhelmed by the sheer unpredictability of the human attacks. Their technology, designed for precision, was no match for the chaotic and improvised tactics of the humans. By the time the battle was over, the alien outpost lay in ruins, and the humans had once again claimed victory using nothing but the junk they had been left with. For the first time, the alien commanders began to realize the true nature of their enemy. These humans were not primitive or weak, they were resourceful, adaptable, and relentless. What the aliens had dismissed as trash, the humans had turned into weapons. And with each battle, humanity grew stronger, more united, and more confident in their ability to fight back. The tides of war were turning, and the aliens, once so confident in their superiority, now faced a foe they had never anticipated. The final days of the invasion were unlike anything the alien commanders could have imagined. What had started as a swift and assured conquest had devolved into a nightmare of constant defeat. The humans had taken their broken world, a planet littered with trash and pollution, and turned it into an engine of war. Each battle pushed the aliens further into retreat, and each defeat deepened their fear. In one last desperate move, the alien leadership ordered all forces to regroup at their largest remaining outpost, a heavily fortified installation hidden deep within a mountainous region. This was their final stronghold on Earth, the last bastion of their empire's presence. If they could hold this base, they believed they could regroup and regain control of the planet. The humans, however, had no intention of letting that happen. Across the globe, their makeshift communications network buzzed with activity. The scattered human forces, from small guerrilla groups to larger organized resistance cells, all began converging on the alien stronghold. They brought with them every weapon they had crafted from the remnants of Earth's trash. Vehicles reinforced with scrap metal, energy weapons retrofitted from alien technology, and a range of improvised explosives. Everything they had salvaged was prepared for this final assault. The aliens, watching from their high-tech command center, underestimated the humans once again. They believed their defenses were impenetrable, with force fields and automated turrets guarding the perimeter. But the humans had learned too much. Using a combination of captured alien tech and their own ingenuity, they devised a plan to take down the force fields. The humans had studied the energy signatures of the alien shields and discovered that they could disrupt them using a device built from scavenged alien parts and Earth's own electronic waste. On the day of the attack, the humans launched their offensive with a precision that surprised even their own leaders. Drones rigged with scrap explosives flew into the alien base's air defenses, while makeshift artillery bombarded the force field. At first, the alien commanders watched in amusement, certain that their superior technology would hold. But then the force fields began to flicker. The humans' scavenged devices, crude though they were, overloaded the alien systems. Within minutes, the shields collapsed, leaving the alien base vulnerable to attack. The ground assault began immediately. Human forces swarmed the base, their armored vehicles made from old cars and machinery plowing through the alien defenses. The aliens fired their advanced energy weapons, but the humans, wearing makeshift body armor fashioned from scrap metal, withstood the attacks better than expected. In the confusion, human teams breached the base's walls and stormed the control centers. Inside the base, the alien commanders scrambled to figure out how their high-tech systems had been brought down by what they still considered to be primitive creatures. One commander watched in horror as a group of humans, armed with little more than metal clubs and improvised explosives, tore through their elite soldiers. The commander realized too late that humanity's greatest strength wasn't its technology, it was its adaptability, its refusal to give up, and its ability to turn even the most worthless materials into weapons of war. In the final moments of the battle, a group of human engineers managed to infiltrate the alien power core. Using a combination of alien and human technology, they rigged the power supply to overload. The explosion that followed ripped through the entire base, obliterating the alien forces in one massive blast. The humans, having anticipated the destruction, had already retreated to a safe distance, watching as the last alien stronghold was reduced to rubble. As the dust settled, the surviving alien commanders retreated to their ships, defeated and broken. The leader of the alien invasion, the same commander who had once mocked Earth for its trash-filled cities, looked back in disbelief. The humans, with their primitive tools and scavenged materials, had done the impossible. They had taken the very waste their planet was drowning in and turned it into weapons that brought down an empire. From the bridge of his ship, the alien commander gave the order to retreat. As the ship ascended into the atmosphere, he couldn't shake the deep sense of horror that now filled him. The humans had not just survived, they had thrived in the chaos. They had turned their own destruction into a tool of victory. The final transmission from Earth was simple. A message sent from one of the human leaders broadcast across all alien frequencies. You thought our world was trash. Now you know. We can turn anything into a weapon, even the things you cast aside. Never underestimate us again. The aliens left the solar system, their invasion a complete failure. And the humans, having won their world back with nothing but ingenuity and sheer willpower, stood victorious. They had taken the aliens' greatest insult, calling their world a junkyard, and turned it into the ultimate symbol of their resilience. They had shown the universe what they were capable of, turning trash into triumph. For the first time in history, Earth was united not just against a common enemy, but by the realization that their greatest strength was not in their technology, but in their ability to rise above any challenge. And the universe, watching from afar, would never look at humans the same way again.